And in recent times, Lenny the Shark, my field marshal, looking to win it again this year after winning it in 2018, and Spankham was devastating last year for Mark Purdon. Let's get out to Adam Hamilton and Brittany Graham ahead of the big one of the evening from Menangle, the Miracle Mile.
Thanks very much, Mark, as Sky One rejoins us here at Menangle for the $1 million Ainsworth Miracle Mile. I'm joined by Shane Tritton in the studio. We'll be getting out to Brittany Graham soon. Shane, we were just talking about the potential fireworks early in this race. You believe the drawers has just landed perfectly for fireworks.
Yeah, look, I think probably the horse that needs to press the issue the most is Lochinvar Art. I think he's the one that could make him run a really strong half, because I don't think he's scared to. Major Dan, if he gets across there, is probably looking to back off, and obviously King of Swing the same. So I think if they're going to run time, it's going to come down to Lochinvar Art and just how aggressive he wants to be to get into the race.
Can Major Dan cross them?
I think he can, as long as the mobile doesn't go too fast. I think if he can use his brilliance, he might. There's definitely no beginner quicker than him. But if the mobile runs a speed, even AG's White Sox, Field Marshal, they'll all be holding their own. So it could be a long time before he can actually see some air to get across. But my gut feeling is that Lochinvar Up might even beat him to the chair.
Yeah, King of Swing is the favourite, but he's easing. He still holds a bulk of the money in the tab fixed odds market. He's been $2.80 opening out to $3.40. AG's White Sox has been a big drifter as well, $4 out to $6.50. Cassie FAHEY passing on that Greg Hope, trainer of AG's White Sox, they're going to get out as hard as they can. Greg Sugars on the Ballarat Cup winner and the Kiwi pacer, but indications are they'd be happy to sit on a King of Swing. Probably not many others, but maybe King of Swing. So, and then it comes down to whether King of Swing can hold the runners on his outside if AG's is happy to sit on him.
Yeah, and look, and to be honest, what happens when they back off? It's a Miracle Mile. If you're sitting back, I know Co Bailey would want to be chair. I know Lochinvar would want to be chair. One of them's not going to be there. So, it just comes down to that second quarter. The leader's not that important, I don't think. It comes down to if you're in front, if the moves keep coming, you've got to keep running. Probably sets it up for a sit sprinter. Yeah,
terrific crowd in attendance here. Thankfully, the weather's been a lot better than had been forecast for Miracle Mile night, so great to see a terrific crowd out here for one of the biggest events in harness racing in this part of the world. And looking at the betting here, well, by far the biggest go in the race, and I want your thoughts on him before we head down to Brittany. Elta Orlando, $21 straight after the draw, quickly backed into $10. Tonight, he's been $10 into $6.50. He's about third favourite to win the Miracle Mile now. Yeah, look, it's tough with him because I've seen a few sides of him that you wouldn't like, and Mark hasn't driven him in a long time, so punters probably should be a little bit wary of. He can be a bit naughty at the starts, but he's a chance of lobbing 1-1 on the back of a Lochinvar Art, which puts Major Dan in an awkward spot. But Mark Purdon's a funny driver. He seems to always lob the right spot, but yeah, he's going to have to pull out a good one to win from there. All right, we're going to get down to Brittany Graham in just a moment. If you're giving us a tip in the Miracle Mile, who is it? Look, my heart says Better's Heart. I'd love her to win again, but my gut says Lochinvar. Good on you. Thanks for joining us. Shane Tritton there with the last word from his mind, the trainer's mind on the Miracle Mile. Let's get down to Brittany Graham for some pre-race chats.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, Adam. They're just starting to mill around here at the start. I said it last year and I'll say it again. It's quite an eerie feeling over here in the back straight because you're so far from the action. All the drivers are pretty quiet. They're just keeping to themselves, trying to keep their horses calm. And the first two horses back here, or the first three horses back, are AG's White Sox, Elta Orlando and King of Swing. Now, AG's White Sox was very, very keen in the warm-up. Mark, you've just popped Elta Orlando with the clerk of the course. He seems pretty happy at the moment.
He seems settled. Look, he told me about a few of his tendencies, but he's warmed up pretty good.
He warmed up with the sliding Dolly Vardens down. Is that just to keep his mind on the job and make sure he's not looking at other things that he shouldn't probably be concentrating on?
Yes, that's what Luke said. He's inclined to look at the gateways and things like that, but I followed Luke round for a lap, so he was really good.
What are your thoughts heading into this race? Firstly, about the draw, and secondly, where would you like to be? Do you have to just let him slide off the arm to try and find a position?
I think you've got to come out a little bit. On paper, you'd think there's going to be a lot of speed early, and you don't want to be giving it away, so probably be coming out and just hoping to be somewhere handy.
Best of luck here, Mark.
Thanks, Brittany.
Mark Purdon there aboard Elta Orlando. He looks happy. He's a horse that can be a bit hard to deal with, but he seems pretty happy tonight. One horse that is very, very chilled out is King of Swing, and Luke, he looked perfect in the warm-up. He looks as though he's super fit. You mentioned he'll come on in leaps and bounds from last week. Is that exactly what he's done this week?
Oh, I hope so, Brittany. He seems really good. He warmed up nice, so hopefully he goes as well as we think he will go.
You spoke to me last week after the race. You think that you could have held Major Dan a couple of weeks ago, so you must be confident that you can do your very best to at least try and hold him out tonight.
Yeah, look, we'll come out as quick as we can and just hopefully we're in front.
Best of luck here, Luke.
Thanks, Britt.
Luke McCarthy there aboard King of Swing. Anthony Butt, fresh off his New South Wales Derby success, has to switch focus now and try and get another Miracle Mile under your belt. Ants, has been talk about both between Tim and yourself about where he's at and whether he's quite as good as he was when he won this race 2 years ago. What are your thoughts on that particular subject? Is he where you want him?
Oh, I think he's not far away, Brett. He felt terrific in the prelim, so that's normally a good time with him. So, yeah, just need a bit of luck in the run now.
Is it still the plan to try and get across AG's White Sox at the start?
Oh, I'll just have to play by that first 100 metres, you know. There's so many scenarios that could happen, so I just got to be prepared for them all.
Good luck, Ants.
Thank you.
Anthony Butt there aboard My Field Marshal. He's ready and raring to go. The gates just tick down to 0, so we better clear the track here as they're about to be called up for this Miracle Mile. Lochinvar is super relaxed. He's walking around like he's been here and done it all before. Of course, he did in the Chariots of Fire just 2 weeks ago now. Major Dan, he looks really relaxed as well. For him, sometimes he can march around this pre-race circle like he really, really wants to get on with things. But I heard Todd McCarthy giving him a few kind words in the warm-up, just trying to keep him nice and relaxed, and he certainly is that. His ears are pricked, he's up and about. Code Bailey sweating up a little bit. He looks as though he's getting a little bit warm in places, but none of them are melting under the pressure or are really, going to water in this high pressure scenario. I'm sticking with Ultra Orlando. I'm really, really happy with where he's at. Todd McCarthy's just raised his hand in the air, so he's just going to get some assistance here before they are called up. His earplugs just popped out there on Major Dan, so nice to get that quickly before we've got any further into the score up. While they're just doing that gear adjustment, 8, 4, 1 and 5 for me. I'm with Ultra Orlando. I think that if he can slot into a prominent position, which I'm hoping he can, just slide across at the start, get into the running line, then he can use that brilliant turn of foot, which we saw on full display last week. The main danger for mine, King of Swing, if he's in front, he's such a mighty hard horse to get past. So if he manages to hold those to his outside and get across those to his inside, he should get every opportunity thereafter. AG's White Sox, I thought that his run was full of merit last week because he went quite rough around the bend when they really turned the pressure up, so to speak. And his last couple of 100 metres were super strong once more, and he comes up with the draw. And in for fourth, I popped Code Bailey. I think that he's probably the sleeper in this race. If they go to war, he's not a one-trick pony. He doesn't have to be driven tough. He's got speed as well. Let's get up to Freddie for the big one, the Miracle Mile of 2020. They're all on gate.
All on gate, Britt, as they get up on gate. This is the running of the Miracle Mile. It's the big dance, and what a lineup. Speed to burn, as you'd expect in a Miracle Mile, but where do they map? Where will they sit 100, 200 after the start? All set. It's green for go, racing in the Miracle Mile, and Ultra Orlando came out quickly. Major Dan, Toddy lights the fuse on the outside, and he comes up on the outside looking for the lead. They were followed by My Field Marshal and King of Swing. Just in behind those then Code Bailey. Last pair were Better's Heart, and on its outsiders Lochinvar as they leave the straight, and Major Dan has got across the face of the field and gone to the lead. Shows the way by 4 metres. King of Swing comes up strongly. First quarter 25.9. King of Swing takes on Major Dan, and soon after goes to the lead. Ultra Orlando's now 3 pegs. Code Bailey works up on the outside to Breeze, and then came My Field Marshal into the 1-1. Further back then to Better's Heart, AG's White Sox, and last of all, but taking off 3 deep now is Lochinvar. There'll be no respite for King of Swing because the moves are coming. It's King of Swing 2 metres 2 in second. Posse Code Bailey up on the outside, taking closer order now. Lochinvar, Major Dan behind them, and then came My Field Marshal out of Orlando. About 4 metres away then to Better's Heart and AG's White Sox on the inside at the rear. 28.8 the second quarter. So the half in 54.7. 500 metres left to go. The spark's about to fly. The leader is King of Swing. Still about 2 metres to Lochinvar. Major Dan's under pressure. Then came Code Bailey. My Field Marshal has to work around it. And then came out of Orlando as heads were turned for home. It's King of Swing, the leader. On the outside, Lochinvar is trying to wear him down. AG's White Sox gets up on the inner, and My Field Marshal tries to wind up with Outer Orlando. King of Swing, the leader, from Lochinvar. Outer Orlando lets down, comes out after them. AG's White Sox on the inner, but it's the king of the Miracle Mile is King of Swing. He goes home to win it, beats Lochinvar. Third home, probably Outer Orlando over AG's White Sox, then My Field Marshal, Code Bailey, Better's Heart, never a factor. Major Dan dropped out, 26.3 third quarter, 27 for the last split, and they've clocked 148.8.
148.8, it goes to King of Swing. Just the most remarkable story. Big betting drifter. He was crossed at the start. He was able to get around and take the lead, and he was just fantastic. What a performance, King of Swing. What a story, Cassie FAHEY, to be able to come from Perth, where his career was at the crossroads. He's won a Hunter Cup and a Miracle Mile in the space of a few weeks.
He started in New Zealand, went to WA. He's grown extra legs every time he's gone somewhere new. The Hunter Cup, Allied Express into the Miracle Mile hasn't been done. Well, the Hunter Cup into this race hasn't been done since the old format with Chris and me back in 2014 or something. So this is just fantastic. This has been a wonderful story. They've done a top job with them out at Cobbity, and there were moves galore in that race. That was exciting.
There were great drive, Lochinvar or David Moran. I thought he was going to challenge him, but you can see the camaraderie between them. But he deserved that win, King of Swing. Terrific performance. We'll be getting down to Brittany Graham in just a moment. Lochinvar great in third. Old AG's a second. AG's White Sox getting up the inside. Elter Orlando got out and flashed home, but he just does what he has to, this horse in front. And for Mick Harvey and everyone involved in this winner, King of Swing, Gary Hall Senior still has a share in him as well. And if you stayed loyal, you got $3.90. Incredible odds, really.
100%. And they've talked about him that he has just been that kind of horse that just does what he has to do. But he really knuckled down there to win. Lochinvar, boy, he's tough, that horse. He can do a lot of work. And Alto Orlando was finishing off the race well at the business end, but just King of Swing, absolutely superlative.
Let's get down to Brittany Graham trackside with Luke McCarthy taking out the Miracle Mile on King of Swing.
Now, Luke, a relieved man, excited. Talk us through your emotions.
I'm not sure yet, Britt. He just proud, really. Proud of the horse, proud of everyone involved. Thanks to Craig and the owners and just the whole stable. He's just a machine, this horse, and he got out of the gate good. Them wider ones pinged out, but when Code Bailey was stuck through wider, I had to keep pressing to see if we could find the front. And Lochinvar went so good in the Chariots doing all that work, and he raced super again. But he's just hard to get past this guy, and he went super.